Alright everyone, welcome to the final part. This particular dashboard is actually about NYC collisions dashboard. So I'm going to show you how to actually add all those functionalities. You can see I can toggle between the value and I can have the value hidden from this particular heat map. So we have a recommendation right here. In fact, a lot went down here. So I'm going to show you how to actually make sure you achieve the same exact thing I have achieved right here to create this particular dashboard. Then you can actually, add it to your own personal project and create a nice portfolio or create something as beautiful as this for your work. You understand? So if your aim is to create a beautiful dashboard, this particular dashboard right here will definitely help you. Just watch the first video to know how we got the data transformed. So I have the playlist link in the description box right on this particular video. So just go ahead and do that and then see you in the class. All right. Our first chart, if we go over to this particular transform data here, we are going to actually find the location. So here is our location here. So we want to see how many collisions do we have for each location. So it's going to be something very swift. So let's quickly go ahead and duplicate this here. Copy. So I'm going to paste this one over here. So you know what I always do. So over here now, we don't want to actually use the time interval in the logger. So this time around is going to be location where this particular incident happened. Then we'll remove this. So we're only interested in this. You get it now. So we have something like this. So the next thing we have to do is to make sure we actually have a highlight to it. So I want to make sure this is some kind of from the highest to the lowest. So if you right click, if yours is not from the highest to the lowest, you go to sort largest to smallest. It will really sort it this way for you. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is just to go ahead and reference the same thing over here to create the kind of chart I want to create. So once I've done this now, I will actually highlight the max 3. So I don't have to write any formula for that. So just reference the max 3 over here and hit your enter key. So this will be dynamic. Whenever it changes, it's going to actually update this dynamically. So once you have done this now, you know how to get it done. Let's go over to insert and let's do this here. We go. Okay, now I'm going to take this off. I don't want to keep this as well. Then the title, now to it. We can make this smaller. Open it up a bit. Oh, this chart will not, it's going to take a lot of space. Let's try it. If we go over to our current listing here and decide to use this particular kind of chart, so before it could show every single thing we have under the x-axis, we would have to expand it. So it's going to take way a lot of space. So what we can do is to change the chart type. Right click and go to change chart type. Then over here, we select this particular bar chart. Then we go with this one. So by the way it is being sorted is not really cool. We have to change a certain orientation. So let's do Ctrl+1. So click over here and go over to where it says axis options. Then click on axis options here. Then category in reverse order. That is beautiful. So click on the bars. The very first thing you have to do is to make sure you some kind of increase this. Then put it at 100%. You have this. Okay. So once this is done, over here, I'm going to click on this particular blue. Let's go over here. So I'm going to select this particular color here. So once I have this particular color selected, I'm going to put that 50%. So to create the kind of highlight I want. So it's now at 50%. This particular one here, I'm going to select the same color. So it actually makes this one to stand out from the rest. So I'm going to take this off. So go over here So let us do 3.09. So we do that by 3.79. So we're going to keep this over here. Now we're going to use white. So if need be, we can go to the previous one here and copy this one. Ctrl C to copy it. We come over here, we Ctrl V to drop it down. So all we do is just to take this and we have something like this. That is all we need to do. So this one now is going behind it. Right click and bring to front. Can you see this now? You can stretch this way. And we'll bring it down a little bit. So if I want to do something now, I can select a different color. So let's see if I go with this color here. Then the transparency shouldn't be much. I'm going to use 25. So I'm going to use the same color for this particular part here. So nicely done. So we set the transparency. I still want to bring the transparency down a little bit. So yeah, here we go. We have this. I can just go ahead and do 60. So now for me to put the data label right on it, click over here and data label. So the value has no comma separator. We want to go quickly over here and add our comma separator right on it. So you see this now? Once we go back here, we have something like this. So we have some kind of border around it. No fill, no line. Quietly done. So if you look at this one, I don't know how it got disappeared. We have to bring it back. So we just have to go back. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. Let's Ctrl Z. So we need to go to Insert, Illustration, Pictures, this device. We're taking the clock. Okay, now we need to actually get our title. So I want to be consistent. So I'm going to go with this particular one. So the font size should be consistently across the two dashboards. So I'm going to keep this over here. So right now, this one should be total collision by location. Okay, you know what we always do? We want to actually make sure we add some kind of insight and recommendation to this. So how do we go about that? It's something very easy. So what we're going to do right now, we are going to actually look at the data, the analysis part here, and see what this particular top 3 we selected represents. So to actually find that right now, max 3 percentage here. So to get the max 3 percentage right now, what you're going to do is just to do the sum, and sum this, you can just copy by the sum of this part here. So once I hit my enter key, I can do Control 1 and do percentage. So we have 76.09%. So this particular 3 location represents 73.09% out of the 6 locations that we actually have. Okay. Now, if we want to actually make sure we some kind of let's see. Okay, we want to add here captions and recommendation. So to add the caption and recommendation now, this is what we're gonna do. So I've actually taught you about the text join function. So we're going to use it. So first of all, we need the header. So I'm gonna do top 3 location, or I can use so over here inside open brackets, I want to close this and ampersand. So right now we want to actually use the text join to make sure we join all the locations that is within the top 3. So the text join is going to actually help us to create a delimiter of spacing. So we do text join. So text join is asking for the delimiter. The first thing here is delimiter. Our delimiter should be space. Open double quotes, space, close it, then comma. We have to ignore any empty. So we put in that comma again. So our first text should be this one, followed by comma, right? Then this one, and that comma, this one, right? So this is what it is that we need to do. What it does is just to list the names of the locations for us. So we want to have commas between them. So what I'm going to do to have that comma right now, if I double click, I can come over here where I have my delimiter to be just space. I want to have just a comma. So if I now hit my enter key, the comma appears here. This is the beauty of using the text join right here. So another way to actually have this done now, if I copy this particular part, Ctrl C, I can just put it over here. So on this one, I can double click, and instead of me to actually have this ones listed here, I can remove this particular part. So once I'm done removing it, I can use the filter function. So the filter function is looking for an array. My array is going to be this particular one here, right? So if I put a comma, it's asking me for the include. So you should actually include something from here. You get it right now? So we're going to do less than and greater than. So before then, we need to actually use true over here. Then comma. So what I'm going to do now is just to close this. So if you look at it right now, oh no, we flopped somewhere. This true shouldn't be part of it. It works to an extent, but that true. Okay, this true is when we want to, if you look at here right now, it's asking us to ignore. So the ignore is, you can use true or you can use comma. I use both of them. That was why I have true. If I just go ahead and hit my enter key right now, the true is gone. So over here, I manually listed this. Can you see? Select this one, select this one, select this one. But I just decided to use a function to get that done again. And the function is called the filter function. The filter function is actually going to get this value from here and ask you, what do you want to include? Only include where we have value present here. So look at what happens if I decide to some kind of put an equal sign and include this now. This one gets updated automatically, but this one wouldn't. So which means over here, I'm going to give this one a red flag, right? It's dynamic, but it's static to an extent whereby it's going to be limited to the one we manually selected. But this one will keep updating as soon as we have new data coming in. But we don't want that, we can remove it. If I come over here now and put an equal sign and reference this and hit OK, now unspecified is included here, but it's not going to be updated right here because over here we hand code it. Until we actually come and include this one, it will not be added. So there are so many ways to make things dynamic. So this one is more dynamic than this particular one. So therefore, we are going to go with this one. So let us remove this one away from here. Okay, now that we have gotten this done now, so if I double click here, I can now say here, or let's do under ampersand. So we have to close the bracket. Okay, we want to close this bracket. So once we close the bracket, what we want right now is that we want this particular listed locations to be inside a bracket, open parentheses, open and close parentheses. So to get that done right now, what we can do is to have here close. So now done. So once we double click on it again now, we're going to say, okay, over here, we actually want to have here account for space and under ampersand again. So we are going to actually reference the percentage, but you know what? If we reference this particular percentage and hit our enter key, we're going to have long list of numbers right here with huge decimal number. So it's going to give us 0.7609. And this is just what we want to retrieve. So how do we actually fix that? Double click, and over here, you're going to use the text function. The text function will help you to convert this to percentage. So 0.00, if you want the two decimal numbers, we just want one, you have one here. Then the percentage here, you close and close this, hit the enter key. Now you have something like this. So top 3, location, Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx here, and account for 76.1%. So here we go. So once we have done that, we're going to add under ampersand again. So of all collisions. So let us have a line break here. To have the line break, we go with this. Then we close and under ampersand. So over here, we are going to give our recommendation. So let's say our recommendation should be recommendation. So we're going to say prioritize. Road safety. Or location. So this is what we have here. So if I double click here now, at this particular part here, I can do Windows full stop. I don't know where we got that from the other time. There is something we've used for location. I always look for it. I don't know why. I think it's gonna be somewhere around here. Here we go. So let's see how it will look. I'm going to come over here and copy this one, the previous one, paste it down. So let us bring it over here and let's go ahead and pick it up. And we pick up this. So I can just go ahead and bring this down a little bit so that this one can come down. So how about this? So this is exactly what we want to have here. So it actually helps us to some kind of make sense with this particular one. So here we go. So you can try to actually create something like this as well. So let us go ahead and have this duplicated now. If you look at it quickly, we have achieved the KPI part right here. And right now, the location is down. We have done this. So let us look at the collision by vehicle type here. Okay, I've gotten this one duplicated. All I have to do is just to adjust the weight over here. So I think the weight should actually be the same thing. Let it be the same thing. So we can use the same thing. So I'm just going to keep it right here, bring it down a little bit, and now hold my control key to select this one. Then go over to the top and align it to the top. Then we have proper alignment. Here we go. So now let's go ahead and bring this down. So we copy this. So this one now should be by vehicle type. So over here, we're going to actually have a spin button here. Let me quickly go ahead and add a spin button. Go to developer, click over to insert, and we have the spin button over here. So you can insert the spin button very small here. So the spin button will be here. I want the spin button to actually be at the edge right here. Okay, now the spin button has no functionality right now, and nothing is on the chart, on the object or the card here. So let us quickly go back to our analysis page. Then we can copy this particular part now. So if I paste this over here, I just have to create a demarcation between them. So over here now, instead of us to show by location, we want to show by the vehicle type, which is this here. So as you can see, we have a little bit long list of vehicle. So this is going to create a long list of a longer chart for me. So to avoid this now, we want to make sure we add a scroll to it. Yes, you get me right. So you want to add a little scroll to this. So it's something very simple. At a time, we want to show just 5 vehicle type. So how do we do that? We already have this here. So what I'm going to do now is just to reference this header. So over here, Ctrl H, I will do here let's do double click on this one. So here we do total collisions. So that will update for our chart. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is to use the offset function. So before we can use the offset function, so I'm going to just say link spin button. So we're going to link our spin button inside here. So let's go over to here, right click and form control. So for this particular one, we'll come back to it, but for now, we just want to concern ourselves about the linking. So we are linking it to here, and now it should give us something like 0 because we have not actually scrolled. So it's giving us 0. So if I spin, should have something like, okay, we spin up, should have 3. Yeah, I spinned 3 times. So now we're going to use this one now to control what we show over here. So what we're going to do right now is to show how many items at a time. We're going to show 5 items at a time. So we use this particular function called offset. With the offset is looking for reference. Here we go. So comma. Now for the row, we control it by this here. Then F4 key to lock it down to avoid it from moving. Now for the column, we skip it with the comma. And for the height, we skip with the comma. Weight, you can skip it to the comma. Then you close and hit the enter key. Now it's going to give you construction. So let us look at what happens here. 1, 2, 3. If I make this one 4 now, it will go for delivery vehicle. So let us try to do that. 4. Here we go. It's picking from here. So what I'm going to do right now is just to make sure we some kind of do this to give us the value. Now we have the 5 item we want to show. So which means it's going to start showing something from here. Let's do bold. So it's going to start showing something from the first row, which is here, down to the 5th. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then to the 5th row. And it shows the value as well. You get it right now? This is exactly what we want to show. So we have just created this. What we want to do right now is to only show the max or the top. So how do we do that? So here we go. We are going to do here top 1. For the top one, we're going to use if function. This value here, if it is equals max, so find the max within here, F4 key to lock it down, close. If that is true, I want to retrieve this for me, otherwise give me nothing. So it's going to give us false here, no problem. We can have false as a result, or if you want to make it clean, you can actually come over here, put a comma, and just say give me nothing, to give you blank. So here we go, we have this. So I want to make sure I have a comma separator right on it. So this will actually help us to create our chart. So watch what happens if I go ahead and create my chart with this. So my chart now, this is not going to work. So what do? You can go with this one. This will work. So if I go with this now, here we go. This one works. So, but I want to go with this kind of chart. This here will look fine. But the thing is this, if you look at it, it's not actually sorted. So what we can do is to actually do our sorting. Let's do legend should be turned off. Title should be turned off. And the x-axis should actually be turned off. So now we can come over here and do the sorting from here. Right click and do sort, largest to smallest. So we do Control 1. We select this particular y-axis. So we go over to axis options. And here we go. So we can select this one now. Go over here, 100%. Then, beautiful. So we can Control X to cut it and take it to our dashboard environment over here. So this one is going to be somewhere around here. So we take off the fill and the line. We increase this. So don't forget what we have done here. If I click on this one now, you can see the color I have used, and it's giving me 38%. So click on it, use the same color, go for the same 38%. Then over here, choose the color without any transparency to give you the highlight. So let us take off the grid lines from here. So you have something like this. The next thing we have to do right now is to focus on the insights we want to actually add to it. Okay, so now if we go back here, we can actually say caption and recommendation. So for the action and recommendation, what we're going to do is for we to look at what does that particular top one represent as a percentage. So I have shown you how to calculate your percentage, so which I'm going to still show you again. Over here, if you want to calculate your percentage, you just do divide the sum of whatever you find here by the sum of what you have right here. So once you have done that, you can just go ahead and convert this to a percentage. So quick percent here. So can you see it now? So now we need to actually make sure this one is incorporated into our caption and recommendation right in here. So first of all, we want to find which particular, vehicle type actually has this. So now to do that, now we just have to do here. So we're going to do highest collisions involved. So we do a line break. The next thing now is for me to use index here. This index is going to return the max where we have this, which is going to be bicycle here. You get it right now. So now we want to return the max. The max should actually be return this value for me. So when you get this value will determine what should be returned from here. Get this value and find the value inside here. So we can actually use match function to make it dynamic. So match function is going to actually get this. So once we have done that, so was it match? No, sorry. I think that should be max function. So we use match. Inside match, we use max function. Then to find the max function from here. And remember, the max function is going to be this particular value we have right in here. So if I add a comma, lookup array is going to be this particular part. You must have understood this by now. So we put 0 for the exact match. So if I hit my enter key right now, so highest collision involve bicycle. You get it now. That is it. So we want to add here and ampersand again. And this time around, so we want to actually make sure we add the max value as a percentage. So to actually add the max value as a percentage now, we want to do here ampersand. So there should be a space between this. So I'm going to do the max again to retrieve this particular value here from here. So once we have done that, we're going to divide it by the sum of this particular value we have right in here. Then we go ahead and close. So if I just close and hit my enter key right now, it's giving me this particular huge number again. So we want to control it. So we just have to do that by using the text function on it. So the text function will be used here. Text. So we come to this particular part here, comma, so 0.0%. We close. Once we hit our enter key, what happens? Text function. So something is not right. So what could that be? What could that be? We have the text function here, max. the sum function. So it's saying I have entered too few arguments. So too few arguments. Oh, that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, let me just quickly say over here, I'm going to take off this one and hit my int key. So the formula is missing an opening and closing parentheses. So what I'm going to do now is just to add an ampersand here and type of all collision. So we close this bracket here. We close this. Now we still have an issue. So this is gonna be solved. We just have to calmly look at where this issue is coming from. So it's actually talking about opening and closing of parentheses. Okay, based on my trace right now, we have not closed our max function here. The max function should be enclosed right in here. And now we have it solved. This is exactly what we want to actually achieve. So we have gotten this. So it says highest collisions involved bicycle, 32.5 of all collision. So now we can actually give our recommendation based on what we have right in here right now. So to do that here, we could actually add it up, have a full stop here. Now add it up here. So I'm going to type in here recommendation. So monitoring and safety rows on this vehicle type. That's a recommendation. So if you remember what we have done here, we added something, which is this particular icon here. So to add this same icon, double click here. Before your recommendation here, click on Windows, full stop. Let's scroll all the way down to grab the same icon. So make sure there is a space between them. So what do? You duplicate this one, Ctrl D, have this right here, right click, just highlight this environment, and let's go and pick it up. So we have something like this. So look at what happens when the spin button is being used. So there will be issue once the spin button has actually scrolled to a particular end. So look at what happens. So now the spin button is returning this blank. This is where we have to configure what we have on the spin button. First of all, let's go over to our analysis. So we scroll and count how many items we have right in here. So once we highlight it now, so we can now take a look at this particular part. So it's giving us 17 items. So with 17 items now, we want to tell what the spin button feels right on. So there should be a little mat right here. So if we have 17 and we're showing 5, so we just have to come here and do 17 here. So we do 5. So total, then all active. So all is 17, active is 17. So we actually take this particular 5 from 17 here. So what does it give us? Minus 12. Sorry, we should do 17 from 5. So it's giving us 12. So which means we have 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So once we have done this now, we can do plus 1. Plus 1, it gives us 13, right? So we can now go over here. I'm going to re-explain this again. Go over to our dashboard, right-click on this particular part, then format control, and over here on the maximum value here, I'm going to put 13 right here, right? 13 right here. So watch what happens. Under the minimum here, we want to show minimum of 1 if there is no scroll, minimum of 1. So if I click on OK right now, it will fix this for us. Automatically it has fixed. We can never scroll beyond here. Once we scroll and we get to the last, it's going to stop scrolling. If we scroll all the way down, so once it gets to the last at the bottom, so it stops scrolling. So what have we done? So right here, so we have 13 in here. This one here shows the first one, the first item we have on the list of our pivot table is what we're showing now on the current one, and the minimum is showing 1. 13 means we are showing 5. Let's go over here. So we are showing 5 items when we scroll. So we have how many items here? We have 17 items. So we now subtract 17 or 5 from 17, it gives us 12. We further add 1 to it and use that to tell that, okay, you know what? When you scroll to 17, you stop. Let's see what happens if I go ahead and start scrolling. So now it's going to stop and we'll check the number we have. So it has stopped scrolling now. There is nothing to scroll again. If we go over here, we have 13 here. So what is this? This is the 17th one. Order. So open passenger here. It stopped right here. It's not going any further because that is the 13 we actually defined inside our spin button. So it's something technical. You just have to practice to understand what this is. So successfully, we have just created this particular chart and it's functioning 100%. So let us quickly add our data label. Data label. Here we go. You see that now? So this percentage changes based on whichever one comes up. So among what we are seeing physically right now, so this particular one on the bright color has to do with the max, collision, which is construction. So if we scroll again, we have different one. Order, if we scroll, we have delivery vehicle, and we have our recommendation based on what we have right here. So does this make any sense? So if it does, please don't hesitate to actually leave a comment, subscribe if you have not done that, and just click on the like button. So let's keep moving. All right, so quickly we have achieved this here, and all of this has been achieved. So we need to actually go into time of the day. So is it morning, afternoon, evening, or night? So we don't have a column that supports that. So we need to actually add that. So over here, if you look at our transform data, there is no column that has to do with evening, afternoon, night, and wherever here. And over the main data here, we do not have it. So how do we add this? Let us go over to Power Query, click on data, and click on queries and connections. So we are here. Once we step in here, you can right click and click on edit, or you can double click it to actually activate the edit mode for you. So when we click on edit, it's going to take us to Power Query. So we are right here inside the Power Query environment. The very first thing we have to do is to click on this particular add column here, and we're going to actually add a custom column. So before we add a custom column, let us take a look at something here. over here we have what we call hour. So this particular hour was extracted from our time, which is coming over here. We add, so we actually click on this and we are here. We go to time. We extracted the hour. Can you see? We have extracted the hour from here. That was what we have done. So now we're going to use that same hour to some kind of configure what we really want to actually have based on afternoon, evening, morning, and night. So we have to be on add column. Then we click on custom column here. So with the custom column, I'm going to rename this one to time of day. So once I've done that, over here I'm going to do let, then h. So what is h? H is our variable. So we want to store in the hour in here right now. So it's going to be equals. Then we have to reference the hour from this. So we have just stored this particular hour into h as our variable. So I'm going to say in we don't need to have this. So I'm trying to just, okay. Now, if you actually type it like in, and you're just trying to hit the enter key to go into the next line. So what happens is going to be, it will actually, once you type it in, so it gives you some suggestion. Once you hit enter, it's looking at it as if you're going to try to commit this particular info mix.database. So to actually avoid that, put a space before you hit enter to go into the next line. So what I'm going to do right now is to actually say if h. So what is h? H is hour. So if h is actually greater than or equal to 5, so this is going to be greater than or equal to 5, and h is actually less than 12. Then that means we are in the morning. You get it right now? So next is going to be else if h is greater than equals to 12 and h is less than 17. Then that means we are in the afternoon. So here, else if h is greater than or equals 17 and less than 21, then that means we are in the evening. So now finally, we don't do else if again, just type in else. So this else would actually say categorize the remaining one into night. So what about this? So if we step off it right now, it seems that we have an error here. Let's see what the error is. So we have not specified the h here. We have to specify h here. So correct. Can you see it now? This will actually create that for you. So time of day. So once you have this particular one checked, and it's going to tell you no syntax error have been detected, but sometimes it will actually give you this, it will still give you an error, but plenty times it's fine. Let's click on OK. So already we have this, so we can just click on the drop down here to take a look at the whole results. So here we go. So we convert this one into the text data type. So this is the column we added. We want to rename the column to go after the column name. So why do I always do this? Whenever I want to actually make changes to this one right now, I will need to start searching for the column I added, which just gives me some kind of generic name. So for me to be able to some kind of get the actual column I want, I go ahead and rename it. So when I want to actually have something done here now, I'll just come over to time of day. So time interval, I'll just click on it and go to time interval, which is this particular one. So if I double click right now, it will actually show us the code we have written for our time interval right in here. We can edit it quickly. You see that now? So we don't have any other thing to do right in here. We are good to go. Let's go over to home. Now close and load. All right, 100% we have it right in here. So if we go straight up to this particular part right now, you can see here we have it. Can you see that? Let's go over to our analysis tool. So right now we need to actually do a copy of this. So right click and go to show field list. So the column will not be included yet over here, right? So what can we do? Let us take this off from here. Now we just have to right click and go to refresh. That will refresh our pivot table and include a new column for us. So it has been included. So let us scroll down. Time of day should be found here. So we can just search for it, time. So we drag this one into here. So this is what we have. So let me show you how to create a particular chart that to actually show this, in a very nice way. So this is a chart I've never created in this particular class before now. So let's do here, just going to reference this particular part as just the header. So we just have to do this. So I'm going to create some kind of helper columns. So H1 is actually helper column 1. So I'm going to do that into 4 places. Helper column 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So after this now, let me insert Ctrl+Shift+ key. Then we just want to bring up any column in here. That will give us the same exact thing right here, right? So we make sure it's default to count. So this time around, we're going to convert this one to percentage. Let's do show value as percentage of grand total. This is what we want. So right now, the kind of chart we want to create, we need this particular helper column. So highlight this environment and do Ctrl+1, then convert this into a percentage without no decimal number. So click on OK. All right, once we have done this now, we want to actually add 5 to everywhere. So hold Ctrl to hit the Enter key. So wipe off this particular part. So we only have 5% here. Do I have to do this? I think this is not really important. Maybe I'm thinking, should we do this? I think this might work, but I wouldn't use this. I think I'm going to show you in the next couple of dashboards coming. I'm going to show you how to create this chart, but for now, let's forget about this. So this time around, I want to make sure I use the percentage. So I am going to select here just the percentage, which is going to be this one here. Right. So once we have actually gotten this one created, the next thing we have to do now, I think we still have to configure this. Let us do Ctrl+Z to still use this particular kind of chart. So what I'm going to do right now is just for me to go ahead and take this number or this percentage, subtract 5% from it. Right? So once you are done, drag this down. So take this particular one and 100% subtract it from this particular percent and further subtract this particular one from it. So hit your Enter key now you have this, right? So once you have gotten this right now, I'm going to try to create my chart from here. If I select all of them and go to insert and click over here, I can create this particular kind of chart. But it's not giving me what I want. It's actually doing it the other way around. So this particular axis here should be on the y-axis, not on the x-axis. So how do we avoid this? I can delete this now, go over to this particular insert and insert a blank chart, which is this chart I want to use. So now there is nothing here. So what I'm going to do for the first time is to right click and go to select data. So my first data now, click on add. So we add the H1. So we remove what we have in here and highlight the H1 here. You have this now. So once done, add H2. So remove whatever you have in here and highlight this particular portion here. Click on OK. So the next one now, add H3. Remove this and highlight this particular portion here. Then click on OK. So finally, on this particular part, H4, which is helper column 4. So we wipe off whatever we have in here and we select this environment here. So we click on OK. So now we have to update our y-axis. So now we select this automatically. Here we go. We have something like this. Then click on OK. All right. So this is exactly what we want to create. But to you, it's not making any damn sense right now. Don't worry. Just bring it down. It's going to make a lot of sense. So now we are going to use shape to make sure we actually change the chart to this basic way to something much more better. So what I'm going to do now is to go over to this particular insert here, illustration, then shapes. Let's go over straight up to this particular arrow. No. On flow chart. So pick up this. Just here. Control 1. Then no line. So we're going to use this particular color. This one that has that color here. So duplicate it. So we choose to use this very color here. So you see this particular two colors. So on this particular one, go over to rotate and rotate this horizontally. So once you have done this now, the next thing we're going to do is just to go ahead and Ctrl C to copy. So click over this particular blue aspect and Ctrl V to paste. Now, over here, go ahead and Ctrl C to copy. Click on the yellow, Ctrl V to paste. So you have something like this. So we have to match this particular color to this very color here. So we click. You should know the color you have selected before now. So if you look at it, here we go. This particular color should actually match this very color here. So can you see this now? So once we have gotten this, the next thing I'm going to do is just to actually make sure I rank this. So I'm going to come over here, right click and go to sort, largest to smallest. So I want to click on this particular part, go over here and category in reverse order. So we have this. So now I'm going to remove this particular axis from here and take off this very one. So look at the magic. The higher the number in H1, which is helper 1 and helper 4, the more curve we have here. So let us put this at 10. If I go ahead and actually copy this down, I'm going to have something like this. Can you see? So, but it doesn't really make any damn sense. So let us return this back to 5. So now, here we go. So once we have gotten this done now, we want to actually add the data label. So we're going to add it from the other end. I'm going to Ctrl X, come over to my dashboard environment here. So let us do Ctrl V to paste it down here. So I want to copy this particular one, Ctrl D. So let us go over to view and hide this one for the time being. Then bring this one down here. So I'm going to just, you see that now? So now this one should actually come to the front. Let's move it to this part here. No fill, no line. So we take off the border, sorry, the grid line. So we have this. Can just go ahead and have something like this. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do right now is that I want to have the label right on it. If I click over here, I can just go ahead and have this particular okay, this axis here, and turn off this part here. So now you click over this particular part, this 5% here. I'm going to try this. I know it's not going to work, but I'm going to show you the other alternative. So we want to go ahead and turn on the data label for it. So we just have some values. If you want to take a look at the values we have, if I click on it right now, I can just go over here to text and put them on white. So now it appears. So what we need to do instead is for we to actually make sure when we select this now, we tell it to actually retrieve value from cell. I don't know how to put this. So we retrieve value from cell. Then we go over to this particular analysis and we say we want to update it with this one. Then we take off this. So now we can go ahead and delete this one from here. So this values does not really show up very well. We can just go ahead and say if there is anything we can do to push the label to the inside base. Oh, now this works. We can use this here. We don't necessarily need to actually do it otherwise. So this one looks good. So this is perfectly showing up well. The next thing we have to add right now is data label. So we're going to add data label to this one. So data label, this is not the correct data label we have. So we just have to do the same thing we have done before. So from cell, we go over to analysis here and we pick from here. Click on OK, we turn off the value. So here we go. We just go inside base. So we have something like this. So can you see this kind of chart? So now, for we to actually have room for other things, we are going to make sure we just bring it down a little bit for title's sake. So I'm going to have a title here. So over here, we're going to have total collision by time of day. Time of day. So now I'm going to actually do this. So if you want to take the same width, I'm using 5.74 here. So duplicate this one, reduce it, and keep this over here. Then resize it to fit this level. So you get it right now. So let us move this one up a little bit. So we now have something like this. So we can reduce this from here. So you just have to take your time to work on it. Okay, now we have to bring in the insight and the recommendation we want to actually add to this. It's something very simple. How can we go about this? So for the insight right now, we're going to do something a little bit different from what we have done before. So if we go to analysis now, there is need for we to actually recopy this again. And now we can actually go over here and paste this one right in here. With this one pasted in here now, we have to bring in the time. So which means we have to bring in the time interval into it. So it's going to create something like this for us, but this doesn't make any damn sense. Let's quickly go to the top ribbon here. So go to this particular design, and over here, there should be no grand total. So over here, the subtotal do not show. Now we click over this particular part, no, this here, and we say repeat all. Then if I open it up right now, we see afternoon, all the time for afternoon, morning, the time for morning, night, the time for night, and evening. So this particular collapse here, we might not want it. How do we take it off? So we go over here and we click on it right here. So once done now, we can actually make use of this to actually create our caption. So, and recommendation. To create our caption and recommendation right now, what we first of all need to do is to actually look at, the time of day it happened and the time interval that that particular collision happened. So how do we go about that? It's easy. So we go over here. So pick collision alert. So we want to actually use here a line break. So over here, I'm going to just type in most collision happen in the, then we do this. So we want to actually extract the time of the day that it happened. So you must have known how we can do that by now. So with index, we can do it. Index is asking for the array. The arrays mean what we want to retrieve. We want to retrieve something from here. So put a comma on it. And to get that done now, we are going to use match function. The match function is going to be looking for a lookup value. We select it by using max. So the max function is going to return the max value from here. So once it has done that, so the lookup array now should still be from here. So once found, we want to have the exact match. So we go ahead and close. Right? If I just hit my enter key right now, so I have, peak collision alert. Most collision happen in the afternoon because afternoon has the highest value. That is 52,520. So that is not all. We want to actually look at what time it happened. So if I double click over here now, so it happened in the afternoon. So we do ampersand again over here inside brackets and ampersand. So we're going to just do under index again. This index will actually capture for now the time interval. So something similar to what we have done before. So we're going to use match max. The max to return the max value from here. So the lookup array for our match function from here. So exact match. Then go ahead and close this. If I hit my enter key now, so most collisions happen in the afternoon by 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. So if you look at it right now, this is the returned rows. Can you see it now? So it should be space between these open parentheses. So we're gonna put a space right in here. So you get that right now. So once we have done that, we are going to do here under ampersand again. No, yeah, under ampersand. And in here, we're going to type width. So we are trying to actually bring in the value, the max value that it returns. So width max, then we find the max value between this particular range here. So the max value should actually be formatted. So we're going to use the text, not format. I thought I was in Power BI. So text function. So with the text function now, we do comma here, hash, comma, hash, hash. So we close this. And if I go ahead and hit my enter key, now this is what we have. So this is the peak collision alert. Most collisions happen in the afternoon, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. with 52,520. So which means we have successfully returned this. Remember, this is not static. It's something very dynamic that changes based on whatever our filter, is. So once we have done this right now, we have to close this particular parenthesis we opened right here. To close that right now, we have to do here another ampersand. So we do collisions. So we can now close this now. Put a full stop on it, space, and so we need to actually add a line break. Then over here now, we're going to add space, just a delimiter of space. Or we don't need a delimiter of space. We want to add on that line break, which is multiple line break. So we just do, so we have added multiple line break now. So now it is time for recommendation. For recommendation, we are going to do Windows full stop. So we scroll down to get that particular icon for information, like this icon is for push pin, whatever. So here we go. So space now. Recommendation. So I want to actually add another line break again. I don't know if this will make sense, but I just feel like to add it. Maybe later after we can take it off if it doesn't make sense. So over here now, my recommendation should be prioritize visibility, traffic, control, and patrols. All right, let's take a look at what we have done. So I'm going to grab this here, have it over here. Then we go ahead and select it. Okay, that is nice. So you can now see the inside here now says peak collision alert. Most collision happen in the afternoon, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. with 52,520 collision. So we have to put a space right on it. So let's see here. We use max here. Where could that be? So now, recommendation, prioritize visibility, traffic control, and patrols during this high risk period. So this is exactly what you can actually add as some kind of insight over here. And this is going to respond to whatever filter we actually place on this dashboard. Everything will definitely start shifting. So what about this? If you have not still hit the like button, you might want to do that right now quickly. Doesn't take you a lot of time, so just do that. So let's go over here and collapse this. So if I actually filter now, so this particular filter is not affecting those particular one. That was because we have not connected them, right? So what do we need to do? We need to make sure this particular pivot table has some kind of named. So we are going to come over here. This one now should be recommendation. This one should be time of day. So vehicle type, I'll just type V type here. So this one should be location. Location. So you're going to know the reason why I'm doing this later, after all. So C for contributing factor. So C factor. And over here, it's gonna be KPI. So let's see. If we go back to our dashboard now, right click over here, go to report connection. So expand this, and you can see here, C factor, KPI, then we skip location because we are using location slicer. We don't want to filter the location, right? That was why we have it named. So it will be very easy for us to identify which one to skip. So now it's going to change 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. here. So let's see. That's changed. Now, the value is changing, but the time still remains the same thing. The same afternoon is what is still leading. If you look at it right here, it's the one leading. It's at 1.41% for every locations. I think most locations, they have almost the same time that those particular collision happens. So I think there should be a lot of focus on it. Okay, now this is actually filtering nicely. So which means everything here is actually good. So we don't have any issue. So the only thing we are not filtering now is this particular one. So which means we need to actually add a new slicer. And that slicer will actually help us to some kind of filter the whole dashboard. And the slicer should actually be our month slicer, right? So how do we do that? Let's go over here to analysis. Click on any of the pivot table here. Right click and show field list. So we have to scroll all the way down and right click here on the month and add it as a slicer. So we can Ctrl X to cut it away from here. So once we are here, we paste it down. So we're going to bring it over here And now we can some kind of make it small. So we want to show everything. So we can go ahead and do show in 3 rows like this. So you can actually go ahead and say slider settings and do not show item without data. So here we go. So what we're going to do right now is to some kind of use the same formatting we have right here, which is going to be this very one here. So now, so the next thing I'm going to do is just to go ahead and increase the height by 3 points. So we have something like this. So right now, no filter from month. So if we place a filter from month right now, it will not actually affect every part of it, because we have not actually created any connection between our month and all other pivot table that we have right here. So what do? We have to create the connection, which you already know. So right click now and go to report connection. So now if you look at what we have here, this particular sheet is showing the sheet name. From this particular part here, it's actually our first dashboard. Then this particular ones here is our second dashboard, which is the current one we are actually on right now. So we are going to skip filtering anything that has to do with the first dashboard. So we concentrate on the second dashboard. So I'm going to actually check this. Check this, check this, check this, check this. Okay. So why am I going to check my KPI on the first dashboard? Because the KPI shows up right here. So we did not create it newly here. So I'm going to just check this one from the first dashboard and click on OK. So if I click over here now, the whole dashboard gets some kind of filtered. Can you see it now? But the thing is this, if I go to the second dashboard, the filter affects this particular part here. You can see 14, and we have the same 14 here, right? And the filter is only affecting this particular one, not all this one, which wouldn't make any sense. So a little assignment for you. Let's go back to this dashboard. So make sure you disconnect this one, and this one from this particular analysis one, and create a fresh one for it. So create a fresh KPI on analysis 2, so that you can actually disconnect this slicer, this particular slicer, from this dashboard. I believe you understand what I'm trying to say right now. Look at what happens if I select May. So May returns 8, and it returns 3,953 here and 1,619 here. If we go over here, we have the same actual value right in here, but it does not affect other visuals except just this particular KPI. And we did connect that because of this particular ones we have right here. So to have it disconnected and still have this particular slicer applied to those particular KPIs right now, you have to desist from using the KPI coming from the first dashboard. So you have to create a fresh KPI pivot table right here and link it to this particular one. That is your little assignment. Please do that. Okay, we have successfully added this, and this is actually looking beautiful already. All right, so we are going to be on the final part of this particular dashboard. So if you look at it over here, we have not actually achieved this. So we're going to be showing the top 10 straight with the highest number of collisions. So the collisions. So how do we go about it? It's something very easy. Let's do it. So this particular space is going to be for this last analysis. So I'm just going to bring this down, hold my control key to select this one, and we go ahead and align it to the top like this. So we can now bring this Oh no, Ctrl Z to now select this one alone. So we have to, can you see this now? So over here we need to actually have the title. So what I'm going to do now is going to be top 10 streets with the highest numbers of collision. So here we go. Now with this, we want to actually have some kind of what will help us to select option here. So let us go over to the tab ribbon, this particular developer, then insert, and now we're going to actually select this particular list box. Can you see now? List box. So the list box is going to be dragged in here. So here is my list box. So on the list box now, there is nothing here, no problem. We just have blank inside our list box. Okay, the next thing we have to do right now is for we to actually go ahead and create our analysis. So over here now, we can actually use our previous pivot table. So I'm going to paste this over here. So name this particular pivot table to no. Yeah, we can, if we click on option, it's going to give us this. We can still have it renamed over here. So I'm going to just say top 10 straight. So now it has renamed this. If you go back now, can you see it over here? So beautiful. So next again now is for me to some kind of get off this from here and this away from here. The next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and grab my streets and have it right in here. So what I want to show is to show the numbers of the total, accident or collision. And as well, if I scroll down, I want to grab the persons injured and the casualty right in here. So make sure what you have here should actually be sum, right? So once we are done, we can go ahead and take this. So if you look at it, wherever we have this particular dash right in, which means there is no casualty, over here there is no injury. We only have one person involved here, no injury and no casualty. So one person here, no injury, no casualty. Okay, now we need to actually get a top 10. So if I right click now, filter, and just get a top 10 straight. So we are doing this by the this column, collision here. So just click on OK. Now we have this. All right, so we are going to actually create this as a table. So what can we do to actually have a fancy table created? So we want to go over to where we have this particular heat map right on. I can drag my heat map to here. So now I have heat map here. Under this particular heat map, I want to go over here. For me to take control of the height and the weight without affecting this particular one, I'm going to start it from below here. So which means I can move this right here. So I'm going to put an equal sign. So let's go back and let me show you something. Over here, if I want to sort this by this column right now, I will have to do right click, sort, just right click here, sort largest to smallest. When this one is sort from largest to smallest, this one wouldn't be sorted like that. This one wouldn't be sorted. If I have to sort, I just double clicked it. So if I have to sort this one, I have to come over here and do sort again. So largest to smallest. So it will unsort those ones and sort those ones for me, right? So I might want to actually add some kind of conditional, number formatting to it. So the number formatting now should be number and should have 0. So I click on OK. So we want to see 0 instead of dash right here. Okay, the next thing we want to have now is actually sorting. How do we actually sort this dynamically? So what I'm going to do right now is to come over here. I'll just put in a letter here. That will actually break it and make me to have access to this particular part to be used. So over here I'm going to create column sorting. So we want to sort by persons injured. We want to sort by so now here we go. So we're going to go over to here and right click here, go to form control, and this is the input. I'm going to actually grab this here. We have to link this somewhere. We're going to link it to this particular part here. Then click on OK. So there is no selection. If we go back there now, we're going to see nothing but blank. So whenever we actually make a selection here, so we're going to have 2. Can you see now? So if we go back again and make selection, we're going to have 1. So this is the number we're going to use to control our sorting. So now let us call this one sorted, or we can call it dynamic sorted table. Okay, so for me to create this now, we're going to grab the header. So we don't want this to be this header. So I want to take some out from this one. So to do that now, just click Ctrl H and we already have it. Remove it. So now, so it's gonna just create something like this for us. So next again now is for me to actually do my dynamic sorting. So to do my dynamic sorting now, what I'm going to do is to use the sort function. So I'm going to be using the ifs can do it. So with the ifs now, I'm going to say if this one here is some kind of equals to 1. So because we're going to be copying this down, so L4 key to actually lock it. So if it is equals to 1, then what I want to do now is to sort. So I'm doing my sorting based on this whole array. Here's my table array. We sort this. So now, how do we want to sort this? Comma. So which particular column do we want to sort this with? 1, 2. This is the column we want to sort it with. So I'm going to do 2 over here. So how do we want to sort this? We want to sort this descending. So we do -1, right? Then under comma now. So now we close. So I'm thinking of something here. Okay, yeah, logical test 2 right now. We don't have to repeat the if again. We just say this particular one here, F4 is equals to, then what we want now, if it is true, is to use the sort again. The sort array is here, right? So I think we have to log this F4 key. We have not logged this one down, so we need to do under F4 key here. Then coming back here right now, if that is true, the sorting should actually be 3 this time around. So which means we are actually starting from 1, 2, 3. We want to sort with this particular person's injured here. That is the second one here. So -1 means descending. We close and comma again. Then if this is actually, this one here is equals 3, then we want to actually sort. Make sure F4 key to lock it down. Then if that is true, we yeah, so if it is equals to 3, then we want to actually do sort. So we sort, this is the array, F4 key, then now use the fourth one, -1 for ascending. So we have to close this. So if I go ahead and hit my enter key right now, so it has been sorted by this. Let's go ahead and change from 1 to this particular one here. Before I do that, let us take a look at our results. So right here, right now, what we can say is 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 0, 1. So if I now go ahead and decide to sort by this particular one here and go back here right now, so we have issue here. I'm thinking of something. What could be the reason why we have this error? So let me sort by this. This is fine. So let us sort by the first one. This is still fine. Let's sort by this particular one here. This is bad. So we have to go ahead and take a look at what we entered here for the last time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, which is correct. So over here, let's see what's going on. So we did equals. So we actually locked it down. We provide for, we get this. And what could possibly be the reason why we are returning blank here? Equals 1, here equals 2. Oh no, sorry for that. Does it have to be? This should actually be equals, not using a comma right here. So it should be equals. So if I hit my enter key, no, it doesn't still work. Why is this? This is crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the last one. So I'm going to start all over again. So over here, please watch it again. So I am going to do here, if this particular one is going to be F4 equals 3, then what we want is to actually do sorts. Our array should be this part here, comma. Before we do comma, we just have to make sure this particular one is being locked down because it's going to actually copy down. So F4 key. Then we put a comma on it again. And now the index should actually be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it's 4. Then -1 to give us. So it works now. So my bad. So pardon me for that. So we have gotten exactly what we really wanted to have right now. The sorting is working very well. So we are going to go to heatmap here. And I'm going to start my creation from here. So let's go down. So put an equal sign there, and let us go ahead and reference this. The reason why we're doing this is for we to be able to actually, some kind of formatted way we like. So over here, I'm going to go ahead and do this. So we can just open it up, open this up, open this up. So we want to go over to the top here and copy this particular header using Ctrl+C. No, not that. So let's do this format painter here and use it over here. So once done now, I want to go over to this particular part and open up this particular place. So over here, just have to open it up a little bit. Okay, so now we need to actually add some kind of conditional formatting to this. So now let us go back to our dashboard to take a look at what kind of conditional formatting we want. So for this particular conditional formatting, this is the total collision here. This exact color should be used for that particular column. For the injured, this one. Then for the for the casualty, this one, and for the injuries, it's gonna be this one here. So if we don't have it any longer, we just want to go ahead and do Ctrl+1. No. We right click and go to format shape to pick the color from here. We want to use the exact color which we already have right here. The same thing to this particular one. We already have it right in here, right? So you can copy it by going through here if you don't have it any longer. So now going back here right now, we are going to go for this. So it might be difficult for we to get the color, but let us try it. So go over here, go here, and we use data bars. We can choose to have something from here. So I'm going to go ahead and use more rules. And over here, we can choose the color. So we have the color from here. So now, there you go. Can you see it now? So for this particular color for injuries, you have to match it up with this one. So what we need to do now is for we to go over to here again, highlight this particular portion here. Let's go. So I think it's gonna be this one. So now for this one here is deep red. So we go again. We choose to have it on this deep red here. This seems to be the same color with this one. Let's find out over here. This color, this color should actually be checked. So let me copy the color code to be 100% sure. That is going to be for this one. Then what I'm going to do right now is to click over here, then click over manage roles. Click over manage roles and make a change of this. Okay, nicely done. So we have something like this. So it is time for me to copy this away from here. Oh, excuse me? Oh no, we are doing this at the wrong part, but no problem, no problem. What I'm going to do right now is just for me to some kind of highlight this environment here, go over here and use this particular format painter. And let's go quickly to this particular heat map area and have it on this particular part. Exactly, no problem. So we have gotten exactly what we want done right here. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is just to copy, Ctrl+C, Now we head up to our dashboard environment. So we right click here, we go over to this and paste as link picture. So we can now move this and have it over here. This is cool. So here we go. Now this particular filter should actually affect it. If it doesn't, that means we have to connect it. So it doesn't, so we just have to connect it. So right click and go to report connection. Report connection now should be this particular one now. So this one, straight. Why can't I find it here? Or do we have it connected? Oh, it's already connected. Let's filter again. 100 is connected. So now the filter here is working. So I'm filtering it by this particular person's injured right now. And you can see here, if I go by total collision, sorted, if I go by this particular one, so we'll have this particular two here. And this is perfectly done, right? Okay, what is left you already know is for we to actually add the insight to it. Is something very easy. By now you should know how to do it. But let me show you what I've done right in here. If we go back here now, so we're going to do it over here. So we want to find the max street name for total collisions, persons injured, and persons killed here, right? Then we use that to actually write our caption and give a recommendation to it. How do we do that? So we can do it over here. Okay. Now, over here now, I am going to go ahead and start to let's do the header, high risk straight alert. Oh no, what did I do? So we need to have a line break here. So let us make sure we are looking at our table. It's very important. So a line break should be this, 10, close, and down % again. Now, we are going to actually say, you know what? We want to actually get the name of the highest streets with the highest total collision. So index will do that for us. So with the index here, so for the index, it's asking for what we want to return. We want to return something from here. We don't have to lock it down because we're not going to copy down or to the across the column. So that is the index. So for we to retrieve it now, we actually want to use the match function. The match function, so inside it we use the max function. The max function is going to actually look for the max value from this particular part here. So close and comma. So the match function is looking for the lookup value, or lookup array rather. So it's going to be this particular part here. You get it now? So comma 0 to give us exact match. So if we hit our enter key right now, we should have something that looks like this. If you want to see a quick result, you can always have this particular one over here. So let's go view, and we put it here, and so here is what we have right now. So Long Island Expressway, that is where we have the highest total accident riding, right? So we want to actually return the numbers of collision we have right there, which you already know, but we just want to actually add it. So because it's here, we just want to make sure we go double click here, and now we do under ampersand here. So we now say has the highest collisions count. So space. So inside here, we just want to have the number in it. So we just do here ampersand. We use max function. What will the max function do? The max function here, we return the max value from here for us. Sorry. I'm thinking. Yes, so we have opened this up. So space, close this. Now here we go. So we now type in the max function. So with the max function here, the max function is going to return the max value from here for us. So in case if it runs into 1000, we want to use text function. So close this max, comma. So we do. Can you see that now? So once we are done now, I'm going to put a comma here. So put a space on it. Then we now type in results, resulting in. So we want to actually check what is actually the numbers of injury that we have. So ampersand here to connect it. So without this ampersand, if I hit my enter key right now, I have an issue with this. So this should actually be some kind of ampersand here. So this is the number resulting in 158. 158. That 158 is this particular one here. It corresponds to this. So we need to actually have a space on it. So resulting this, there should be space here. Then resulting in, there should be space right in here as well. So now we have a space here. So we now come over here now and ampersand here. So we're going to use the index function to retrieve for retrieving the numbers of injuries. So we're going to do index, and that index is going to ask us for what we want to return. This time around, what we actually want to return should be this particular part right here where we specify the injury. Can you see it now? This is what we want to return. Then again, we just have to say match. And this match, we actually tell it to return max. So the max should be found here. Once the mark is found here, close, comma. Now the lookup array should actually still be the same place right here. You get it right now. So comma 0 for exact match. Then we can go ahead and actually have it closed. So we now close for the index. You get it right now. So we can go ahead and do enter. So if you look at it right now, we have a Long Island Expressway. So we need to have space between here So we just have to put a so expressway has the highest collision count, so 158 resulting in 108 injuries. So we just have to go over here again. So now we have to do ampersand, and we'll type here injuries, and ampersand here again, index. So this time around we are looking forward to returning the max persons or casualties. I just hate calling this word because of policy of YouTube. So now index, now the index should actually be this. We want to return something from here. So if I put a comma here now, we can actually use the match function. So it is not only the max function we can use to return the largest value from here. We can use a function called large. This large is going to take this particular part here to return the large for us. So we put a comma and we actually give it 1 to return the first large for us. So this time around it's going to return just 1 because we have 2 1. If we have 1 2 3 4, 4 will be the largest one. So once we have done this, we close and we put up our comma here. For the lookup array, we select this particular area and now comma 0 for exact match. So close and hit the enter key. So now it's just returning 1. So this particular one now can be from anywhere because we also have multiple, as we have 2 1 here. So it can return 0 because 0 is just 0. 0 means like nothing. So it's returning just 1 for us. So if we go back now here, so what we're going to do now, and over here is just for we to say, okay, now we want to say casualty or fatalities. So full stop here. So under ampersand, now we have to create a line break. I want to create 2 line breaks. To create 2 line breaks, you do this. So close and ampersand here, you do this again. So which means you have 2 line breaks. So this particular 2 line breaks, what they do is just for we to have too much gap on it. So now it is time for we to actually write our recommendation. So what do you suggest based on what you have right here right now that we can actually suggest to, whoever is going to actually use this data to make sense? So here we just have to put space to allow space to be here. So now for recommendation, the very first thing I'm going to do is just to go over to here, Windows, and scroll all the way down to get this I used to use for my recommendations. So once I've done that, I'll type in here recommendation. So next again is going to be, let's say, install speed enforcement. So enforcement cameras, improve, let's say improve lane marks, or I think it's going to be lane markings, and lighting, and review signal timing to reduce what? Let's say risk on this corridor, wherever. So just try to come up with what you can actually write that will make a lot of sense. So now we have this here. So it is time for you to go over here right now. So pick up this. I'm going to keep it over here. So the next thing now is for me to actually expand it. So let's go ahead and pick it up. Okay, so once done, we can just go to home, click on this and apply it. So this is exactly what we can do to have this created. So it's going to respond to whatever filter we actually place on it. So if I actually unfilter the month right now, you can see, so here we have 10, because 10 is the maximum. This is the 10 right here. So the sorting is working 100%. I think this is all we actually want to create on this particular dashboard. We have just gotten this extra dashboard created out of what we were asked to do based on our recommendations here. First objective, second objective, third objective, and over here our main objective, where we are supposed to identify seasonal patterns, visualize weekly trend, and analyze contributing factors. So we have actually done justification to our dashboard. So here we go, first and second dashboard. So if you want to actually, make this to look more like a dashboard that you can actually, click on and go into the next one without you coming over here to do that. So what you can do right now is to go all the way to the top here, insert. Here we go. We go to shape. We just insert a text box here. Here you type in. So I'm gonna say Maven, or let's just do dashboard 01. So for dashboard 01, control 1, no fill, no outline. So the color now, let us put this over here. So this is the second dashboard. I'm gonna keep this over here at the top here, right? So now we duplicate this and we have this right here. So this particular one should be 2. Okay, so once we have gotten this now, this very one here is not the one we are currently on. We're going to actually make it not to show too much. So we make it this way. So this particular one now, we're going to actually make sure we show it on this particular color, which is the active one. So I'm going to go ahead and hold my Ctrl key to select this one, and Ctrl C to copy. Then we go over here to our first dashboard. So we paste this thing over here and move it and keep it somewhere around here. So now we're going to actually make sure this one here is just like this very one. Then over here on this particular one, we're going to make sure we use this. So this is the active one here. We're on dashboard 1 is active. So if you want to go to the second dashboard, just right click over here and go to link. Link. So once we are on link, we click on this particular place in this document. And we want to go to dashboard 2, we click on dashboard 2, and we click on OK. So when we hover over it, we want to see a tooltip. So we can just say, click to go to dashboard 2, right? This is what you can do here as a tooltip. So, okay. So what happens if somebody comes here and hover over this before the person even clicks? There's a tooltip already showing up right here. Can you see? I don't know why it bounced it to this particular end, but so good. How is it? So if I click on this one now, it bounced me here. I can just do the same thing to this particular one. And over here, I can go over to link. Then this one now should be dashboard 1, which is this one. So we do tooltip again. We just say, take us to dashboard 1. So we click on OK. You understand? So once we are done now, we just go ahead and click on OK here. So if we hover over it now you can see on this particular one, it's showing, it should show, it's still showing it somewhere around here. So now what I'm going to do is just to hold my Ctrl key to select them again And I'm going to make sure I properly align them at the same spot so that when I switch can you see it now? So we now have something like this. So I'm going to tell you 100% that we are done creating this particular dashboard. And if you have watched to this particular end, I want to say thank you very much for watching. So do well to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So leave a comment and let me know what you feel about this. And I'm going to be seeing you guys in the next, Maven Analytics project again. So